All right, guys, I'm going to show you how to make some tools out of the things that you got in your little goodie bag inside your clay bag. Tools that we would be using if we were in the class, or actually if we were in the class before COVID, would be something like this, which is a loop tool. This is a needle tool. Ooh, there we go. And this is a rib tool. This is a wooden rib tool. They come in plastic or metal as well. These are used for smoothing. These are used for scoring and also for cutting. And then these are used for scooping and carving. Okay, so in your bag, you have got some popsicle sticks and you have got some paper clips. And then also what I have here is just a spent gift card. Okay, so I was not able to get rib tools for all of you guys. I did look into trying to get blank cards for everybody to make rib tools, but that just didn't happen. So I'm going to show you how to make your own. If you have any type of old plastic card that you no longer need, so like spent gift cards are probably the best thing. Otherwise, like keys from a hotel, those plastic swipe keys, anything that's just kind of like a flexible piece of plastic, just make sure it's already spent so that you're not, destroying it. So basically, these rib tools have a side that's flat and then a side that's round. Now, some of them are flat on the bottom and then just have an arch like a rainbow, that goes like this. But I like this design because it has a smaller side and a wider side, and that helps you get into more spaces. All right, so I'm just going to kind of sketch onto here what I want. So I'm going to kind of curve, and I think I want to make that a little bit smaller, so I'm just going to curve something like this. All right, and then I'm going to cut it with the scissors. These are a little bit tough to cut, but as long as your scissors is decent, it should be okay. So I'm just going to cut this curved shape, and I'm going to round off this edge as well. Maybe trim here. All right, so now I have got a tool that I can use as a rib. A rib is used for smoothing on the clay, so like this. Sometimes you need to get into smaller areas. That's why I like the design where it's smaller on one side. So this takes the place of the rib tool. And then with these, we are going to make a needle tool and a loop tool. So you can either do one loop tool and one needle tool, or you can do a double-sided one, which is what I'm going to show you. So you do have two popsicle sticks, but you do want to save at least one of these ends to use for helping to meld and blend things. So you can save a whole stick for that and do a double-ended tool, or you can do two single-ended tools. It's just up to you. All right, so what you're going to need is a popsicle stick and your two paper clips. And I'm just going to straighten one part out to make it the needle for the needle tool. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and tape that on here. Now, clear regular Scotch tape that you use to wrap a present is not going to hold this very well. But if you have electrical tape or duct tape or packing tape, which is what I have here I'm going to use, that will work much better. Okay, so I just have a piece of that packing tape. And I don't need this much thickness, so I'm just going to kind of get that in half. Now, when I go to tape this needle down, I don't want it sticking way out because that's not going to have any stability. It's going to bend really easily. So really, I only want to let it stick out about an inch. I want it thick enough so that I can cut with it, or deep enough so I can cut with it, but I don't want it to stick out too far. And then I'm going to wrap with my tape, and I'm going to wrap tightly. Okay, so I'm actually kind of stretching the tape as I wrap it around, and I'm pressing it down to the wood. Okay, we want to make sure it's not just floating over the wood, but actually securing to it. And I'm just going to continue to stretch it and press it down as I wrap. All right, so easy as that. And that, again, takes the place of this tool. So you can see how they would be able to do similar jobs. So let's put that with that one. Oh, actually we'll wrap the other side with this. The next thing is a loop tool. So we're looking at this loop here, and we are going to recreate that with a paper clip so it's like this. Now, if you end up wanting to make more shapes of these, you can. Sometimes they are squared off, sometimes they are larger, sometimes they are big and round. Whichever way you want to bend the wire is fine. For our purposes, I think we just need the larger side of the paper clip. So in order to do that, I am just going to open this up like an S. And I'm actually going to widen this just a little bit. So I'm kind of opening it and then wrapping it around my finger so that I have a little bit of a wider loop, and then closing it back in. All right. Then I am going to, again, lay this on the stick, and I am going to glue it so that, or not glue it, I'm sorry, tape it so that not too much is sticking out. If it's way like this, that's not going to work well for you. So we want to bring it in a little bit. So again, with the packing tape, I am going to make sure that I am pressing down to the wood, and then again, holding it tight and pulling and stretching the tape as I wrap it, and making sure that's nice and secure. So this double-sided tool here, or you could make two single-sided tools, take the place of these two. So with these tools, you should be able to do quite a bit. I do also want to talk about making slip. The way I'm going to show you is to use water. We can use water just fine, but some people are more used to using slip and would rather do that. So all you need to do is dry some of your clay out first. Not a lot of your clay, just a little bit, okay? So I have some clay that I set aside and let dry, and I've just got some pieces, okay? The reason we let our clay dry first is because it will actually dissolve faster and much better if it's dry. If you put wet clay into water, it takes a long time for it to dissolve. But with dry clay, there's all these air pockets, like in it, these tiny little spaces where moisture used to be, that the moisture can fill up again. So I'm just going to take a container of water, whether it's a cup or a little bowl. I suggest probably something that you can cover. So if you have like a Tupperware, a small Tupperware, you could put it in there. That way you can cover it. So basically in here I just have got water and some dry clay, and I'm just going to let that sit for a little while and it will turn into slip. I've got one that I've already done right here. Move that up a little bit. And you can see that after it sits for a little bit, it really does turn into slip, okay? So if you would rather use the slip than the water, you're welcome to do that. But it's not necessary. I will show you how to do it with just water and making your own slip actually on the clay as you're scoring. So these are the tools that you can make if you so wish. You do not necessarily need to make these tools if you do not have tape at home. That's fine. You can just use the paper clip that I gave you the way it is. So if you don't have the tape and you want to use this as a needle tool, you can just open it up and hold it like this to use it. I just think it might be a little easier on the paper clip, or I'm sorry, on the popsicle stick. And the same thing with the loop tool, okay? You can just open it up and use it like this. It's just a better grip on here. And as far as the rib tool goes, I would say that's probably the most important one. If you can get your hands on a piece of plastic like that, an old Amazon gift card or whatever, that works really well. And it actually helps us to smooth a lot better than you can with your fingertip. If you can't get one of those, it is okay. You will be able to do it with your fingertip. I just think this is probably the most beneficial out of these tools here.